Welcome back, our dear viewers. As we have mentioned at the beginning of the show, that today we are going to talk about African ties in light of the results of the American presidential elections and the winning of the Republican candidate Donald Trump. And to shed more light on that issue, we are very much delighted to have with us our dear guest in the studio, Ambassador Mohammad El Ashmawy, member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs. Hello, Mr. Ambassador.
Hello. Yes,
Mr. Ambassador, how do you read the results of the American presidential elections in light of course, the winning of the Republican candidate Donald Trump? Unlike what most of the people expected, that Hillary Clinton might have been the most close candidate to win the elections.
Well, I agree with some observers who are saying that what happened in the United States about the elections and Mr. Trump as a new president, the president number 45 of the American presidents, the United States, I think it will be a revolutionary change in the American politics. I mean, whether it is on the internal affairs of the United States or the external affairs of foreign policy of the United States.
Why, sir? Because, of course, the last 8 years witnessed the presence of U.S. President Barack Obama, who is still a democratic president. So do you believe that the real change on the internal and external fronts would be due to the character of Mr. Trump, or that would be due to the fact that now the Republican will lead the country?
Both things, the Republicans, and at the same time also the personality and the character of the new president of the United States of America. There will be a revolutionary change. This is what I think personally, and I agree with the observers who are saying that. Because some observers are saying that he is by nature, a conservative. He is an isolationist. And also he is trying to, represent what they say the American WASP. The Americans, the middle class of the United States of America. Some people are saying at the same time that those who have, middle qualifications in the United States, and he could, stir the problems of the workers, of the middle class, especially after the change in the international economic order, which some people were really having problems after that, and with the big role the international big business are playing all over the world now. They are making problems for those people in the United States. Also, the immigration to the United States is making problems. So the new president, Mr. Trump, is against all these things.
Indeed. Sir, do you believe that we will witness a real change in the American foreign policy in general and towards Africa in particular?
Yes. Generally, I think there will be a change because he he himself, Mr. Trump. Of course, we have to wait till 2020 or January.
Sorry for interruption here, but some presidents or candidates before being real president on the ground do say some promises or some statements which do not become real
afterwards. Yes, and some of it are. They made something,
just for the
and not all the things. Even Obama himself like that.
Indeed.
But I think for Mr. Trump, there will be. I think there will be a real change, because this is what I can say. This is a spring, another spring in the United States itself, not in the third world countries now. A big change and a revolutionary change in internal and in the foreign affairs also. I think for the European Union and the Atlantic Treaty Organization, there will be some change, I think. If you come to see also what happened with the Minister of Defense of Germany, he was against Mr. Trump, even after saying that he will be the new president of the United States. So
do you see that the U.S. will be sticking to its commitment Yes. Towards the NATO as a member state and the other member states, because that was a great concern, as you have kindly mentioned, yes, from the military, the Minister of Defense in Germany, yeah, concerning that issue, and many others as well concerning the commitment of the U.S. towards the NATO.
At least Mr. Trump himself, yes, Mr. Trump is talking himself about the cost of defending the Europe, and how that they must, I mean, take part in the cost of that. Even he was talking about that with the treaty organization of the Atlantic Treaty Organization, and also with the Gulf countries. He was talking like that, and also with Japan and South Korea. He was talking that these people, they should take part in the cost of defending these people by the United States. Yes. So there will be a change for sure. Yeah.
So what about Africa, sir, here on the ground? Because we have witnessed many African Americans and many minorities in the United States were rejecting Donald Trump because of his statements, of course, which were described by many as racist.
Yes,
so how do you read that?
I think they were feeling better with Obama as an Afro-American.
But we did not see much
of course. But anyway, he visited Africa, and he was taking to the people like that, and there was, I mean, we have an African origin, so this is something, I mean, giving him some edge. Sort of, yes, an edge in Africa. But now, with the isolationist policy of the United States, I think Africa will not be so important. I mean, I don't say
not
so important.
Not on the agenda.
Not on the forefront of the agenda, at least. But for the interests of the United States, he will do the best to defend the United States and try to make something for the American interests in Africa. But it will not be in the forefront, at least.
Sir, what about the international reactions towards the election of Donald Trump as the President of the United States of America?
Let me return back to Africa. I think Africa is what we were talking now, I mean, since about 10 years now, about the second scramble for Africa. We have the China, we have the Brazil, we have the United States, we have also India. And Turkey were taking part, and they had too much interest in Africa as a hub for the investment of these countries. It was there, but now with the American isolationist policy with Trump, what will happen? I think there will be more evidence, more presence of China, India, Brazil, and the other countries in Africa. Even much more than the United States. So do you believe
that the United States will be retreating somehow from being an effective partner for Africa?
I think so. I think we have to wait till 20th of January. But anyway, I think some people are predicting that it will not be on the forefront.
So do you really believe, Mr. Ambassador, that Trump will succeed to adopt the policy of isolating the U.S. from the rest of the world? Because we have to mention here that the U.S. have been always a key player in the whole world, in the Middle East, of course, in the EU, NATO, in different fronts. So how do you expect the isolation policy to work here?
I think it will be it will not be in the center of the policy of Mr. Trump, because I think the center will be the United States itself.
Economically,
the economic point of view, and the economic evolution of the United States, and how to retain back what he said about the position of the middle class in the United States, and to have a strong economy again in the United States of America. He will try. This will be the center of his work.
Mr. Ambassador, many were criticizing Trump for not coming from a real political background.
Yes.
And he lacks the political history, or unlike his candidate at the presidential race, Hillary Clinton, who was the foreign secretary for a long time. So how do you read that, and how do you expect Trump's background as a business tycoon to influence his decision making.
He was not the only president without expertise in the foreign policy and in politics in general. But at the same time, we have Ronald Reagan. He started also, he was like that. But anyway.
And he was one of the most successful presidents in the history of the United States.
He was, yes. And he can have the people around him. They can help him, I think, in doing the business and doing the, whether on the internal politics or in the foreign policy of the United States of America. It will not be a big problem. This is something normal.
Mr. Ambassador, how is it the election, that took place yesterday and the results were announced today morning, how it was different from any other U.S. elections? Because I believe it was quite shocking for many people around the globe, the fact that Donald Trump did win, and we have witnessed before the polling and all the statistics and the assumptions were favoring Hillary Clinton to be the of the United States and not Donald Trump.
Yes, I mean, I think the way the campaigns were done in the United States was really, there was a big change. Even the language itself between the candidates was something more, I mean...
It was never like that before, to be honest.
The first time really to use such
language
such words,
and such attitude.
Everything.
From both candidates.
Even there was no respect at all between, unfortunately, I mean, so this is something new in the American politics. It's a revolution.
Yes. And back, sir, to the fact that most of the world did react to the election of Trump as president. How do you see the world reaction to the election of Donald Trump as
well? In some I mean, countries like Egypt now.
Yes. One of the first countries to congratulate Trump was Egypt, of course, and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi.
Yes, when they met in New York, I think, during the visit of the President, Mr. Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, to the United Nations. I think they met, and there was a good, I mean, relations between both countries. Even the character also of both. I mean, there was a good change. I mean, and the people are expecting much more, I mean, good relations between Egypt and the United States after the election of Mr. Trump.
Yes, and what about the U.S.-Russian relations? Because we have seen that the President of Russia, Mr. Vladimir Putin, did, of course, congratulated Mr. Trump for winning the elections. And, of course, we have seen that the parliament in Russia expressed happiness because Hillary did not win the election.
Yes.
So do you expect here to see more rapprochement between the U.S. and Russia at the coming phase under the presidency of Donald Trump?
I think so, and this will be, I mean, this will make a change in the in Syria and in some places in the world, and because there is an affinity. I mean, there is a new language between the both, I mean, characters of the presidents in the United States and in Russia. They are in good relations, I think, both presidents. That's why also some people are talking about a new policy of dividing the world between the Soviet Union, I mean, Russia and the United States of America.
Yes.
So I mean, I think there will be a change in the relations between both countries.
Yes. So what about Iran? We do not see a real reaction, but the Iranian foreign minister called on Wednesday on the U.S. President Donald Trump to stick to the international accords, and of course he's emphasizing on the nuclear agreement.
Yes, he should. He should. I mean, he should say, I think, like the foreign minister of Iran, because Trump himself was talking about.
Yes, because he did mention that in one of his statements.
Yes, he said it. But let us, I mean, wait and see what will happen after 20th of January concerning the relations with Iran. But anyway, I feel personally, I mean, as a conservative, Mr. Trump, as a right-wing also, the right-wing policy and the conservatism, I mean, I am afraid we can expect, as some observers are saying, that we will come back again to the clash of civilizations all over the world.
Why Mr. Ambassador, are you expecting here to see a clash of civilization? Because unfortunately we did see that during the many statements of Mr. Trump, but on the ground, he is not the only person, the President of the United States, he's not the only one who is actually taking decisions here. The administration is, of course, assisting in that. So
yes.
do we expect to see real diversifying in the strategies of the United States?
Well, I mean, it is a country, there is the American establishment and there is an institution in the United States, of course, it is that, but also the personality of the president is playing a part, playing a role. And some people are afraid. I mean, there will be a change in the American politics concerning the relations between, a clash of civilizations, as I said. And at the same time, also, some people are talking about the role the vice president played, Mr. Pence. He was in good relations with the Anglicans and the evangelicals in the United States, and those people played a very important role in bringing Trump to, after in the elections itself. So those people are pro clash of civilizations, and they are.
So these people are pro, of course, the clash of civilization, but what about also the fact that the United States is full of minorities and Americans of different nationalities? We have the African American, we have the Hispanics, we have Latin, Latinos, American from Latin backgrounds,
Hispanics,
and Hispanics, and we have many diversification in the United States. So how do you expect Trump to handle that? Because he was not pro that very much at the beginning of his campaign. So how do you see the situation here?
Of course, it will not be.
Or the situation would be different now as he is becoming the president.
Of course, it will be. It will not be a very, an easy task by Mr. Trump. But at the same time, we have to expect that because when he came, this is his politics as a conservative. He was trying to do, what he said. Even today, he was talking about, of course, Mr. Pence played a very important role for the evangelicals to elect Mr. Trump, and at the same time also Mr. Trump, I think, as a conservative, he will try to bring all the people in. That's why he talked today in the early morning that I'll be the president of all Americans. We have to come as a whole of the American society. Now I am representing the Democrats and representing the Republicans. So he is saying that I will be the president of all the Americans. He will be trying to do something, but still there is differences in the American. There is dissent in the American society itself up till now.
Yes, I believe, sir, we will have to wait and see until Donald Trump is becoming actually in office, and we'll see the policy of the United States toward Africa and toward different parts of the globe. Mr. Ambassador Mohammad El Ashmawy, member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs, always a pleasure to have you with us, sir. Thank you very much for your precious input.
Thank you so much.
And with that, our dear viewers, we come to the end of this edition of Africa Today. Hope you have enjoyed it. Until we meet again, I'm Rabia signing off.